Nifty Sensex off day's lows. Axis Bank, L&T and ICICI Bank lead.
Amid the market rebound, Nifty Media has emerged as the top gaining sector. Nifty, IT and metal continue to trade in the red.
HDFC Bank remains under the hammer in the last 2 days. The ADR suffered a plunge of over 15%, while HDFC Bank stock tanked nearly 10%.
Focus on Aarti Industries. Surges in trade today. This as the company scores a contract win worth 6,000 crore.
And more earnings on our radar today. Ind Bank, Polycab and Tata Communications are set to come out with their December quarter earnings.
Good afternoon, welcome. You're watching Market IQ on NDTV Profit. I'm going to quickly take you through where markets are at the moment. You're seeing the Nifty, which is down around 0.6% or thereabouts. You're seeing declines, no surprises with regard to where you're seeing the declines coming from. It's the Nifty Bank, which continues to decline, and HDFC Bank contributing to that decline. Let's have a quick check on where contributories are at. At least the Nifty contributories, you're looking at the biggest decline coming in or contributing 65 points contributed on the declines by HDFC Bank out of the 125 point fall that we're seeing on the Nifty 50 itself. LTI Mindtree also on the back of earnings contributing to that. Asian Paints also on the back of earnings contributing to that fall. So out of the top four, you're seeing three largely an earnings reaction. NTPC is the other one which is contributing meaningfully to the declines. In terms of sectors, I'll quickly pull up the likes of a Nifty Bank, and if we can see the contributories there within the Nifty banking pack, that will come up shortly on your screen. There you go. You're seeing HDFC Bank, AU Small, IndusInd also on the cusp of earnings. So that one also a bit of a pre-earnings kind of a reaction that's coming through. You have Kotak and ICICI, which will also declare numbers soon. But on the positive side, you're seeing a good recovery coming through. You're seeing Axis, which has been in the green for a better part of the day. You're seeing IDFC, PNB, Federal Bank, and even within the Nifty PSU banks, you're seeing a positive reaction, at least a bit of a positive reaction, which seems evident with SBI also in the green.
Right, Hersh, there's another stock in focus today, which is Aarti Industries. That's up about 5% on the back of a new contract win. To talk to us more about this, we're joined by the CMD of Aarti Industries, Rajendra Gogri. Welcome, Mr. Gogri. Thank you for taking the time out.
Thank you.
So tell us about the new contract win and when does it start? Do you need capex for this new contract?
It is from calendar year 24 to calendar year 27. And this is part of our ongoing expansion. So no additional capex is going to be required for fulfilling this contract.
Right. Will this be a margin accretive contract for you? This one, 6,000 crore?
Yeah, it will have a similar margin, EBITDA margin 15 to 17%. The top line increase will translate to increase in EBITDA.
Understood. And Sir Hersh also joining in, if I may. Sir, just want to try and understand, you've won another contract as well, 3,000 odd crore, the execution of which is over a period of 9 years, so slightly elongated execution timeline. Now, when I combine these two, how are they going to contribute to your top line in FY24 onwards? Because I'm guessing that's the execution timeline even for, or the execution start date even for the second contract of 3,000 odd crore. So now 9,000 is the combined number. 3,000 over 9 years, 6,000 over the next 3 to 4 years. How would that meaningfully add to your top line from FY24? If you can give us a broad number.
Yeah. Okay. Today's contract will be adding 1,500 crores per year.
Perfect.
So,
yes.
And the earlier contract, which is some sort of a ramp up, so that will about 300 crores in FY25. So 1,500 plus 300, 1,800 crores.
Understood. And that's FY25 onwards. Understood. So where will your top line go to? It's roughly at 6,600 odd crore. So your top line would go to roughly, let's say, 9,000 odd crore FY25. Is that where one can see it?
Yeah, I think around 50% increase will be there for the top.
Sure, understood. Oh, that's significantly higher. That's roughly 10,000 crore. Margins have come off sharply over the last couple of years. So where do margins go from here? When can we start seeing margins come back above that 20% mark for Aarti?
For us, basically margin also relates to the base raw material, benzene, toluene and all that. So absolute EBITDA is more important. But margin at a constant raw material prices also will increase. As you know, we expect.
We seem to have lost audio for Mr. Gogri, but we'll try and connect. But let's move on. And apart from Aarti, we have another stock that is in focus today, which is LTIMindtree. The stock is down over 10% on the back of Q3 numbers. Let's take a look at the Q3 numbers. It was a big miss on the back of furloughs, and but we'll come back on it and we'll talk about this a little bit more in detail. But we have Mr. Gogri back, and sir, can you hear us now?
Yes, I can hear you.
Go on, please.
Yeah, I think we are discussing on the top line, so we should be reaching around 9,000 crores, and we expect a lot of operating leverage coming into play, and transfer of gross profit to EBITDA will happen. So at a constant raw material, we expect the EBITDA margin to grow in FY25 and subsequent years.
So, sir, is there a date, or rather a quarter, that one can give in terms of a guidance as to when it will breach that 20% mark? Because it seems that it's been below that 20% mark since a while.
No, that I already mentioned. It will be always linked to the raw material prices. So at constant raw material prices, we expect it to increase. But in a particular, benzene can move like anything. It had historically moved from $300 to $1,300. So all these commodity prices impact the EBITDA margin. But as a constant raw material prices, it is going to increase in FY25 mainly because of operating leverage.
Thank you so much, Mr. Gogri, for joining us and for all the answers that you gave us. It was a pleasure talking to you. Now, let's come back to LTIMindtree. The stock is down in trade over 10% on the back of Q3 numbers. We spoke to the CEO, Debashish Chatterjee, and asked him if the company will be able to achieve 17 to 18% EBIT margin for FY24 and what margin levers are still in play for that thing to be achieved. Listen in.
We have very clearly called out that, for FY24, we are not going to, we are that 17 to 18% range does not hold good. So we are going to, but at the same time, the plan remains intact, but we are just deferring it by a few quarters. But when you talk about the EBIT bridge, just to clarify, we lost almost 200 basis points because of furloughs, fewer working days, and quite a bit of seasonal pass-throughs that we have in our business in Q3. But we recovered 80 basis points from our SG&A efficiency as well as 60 basis points from our other operating efficiencies. So we lost 200, got back 140. That's why you see a decline of 60 in terms of our EBIT.
Well, switching focus from one set of earnings to another, banking major IndusInd Bank going to report its third quarter earnings today. Mimamsa joins us. She's obviously got all the details with regard to analyst views and what we can expect. Mimamsa, take it away.
Yeah, hi Hersh. So IndusInd Bank is set to announce its Q3 earnings today, where it is expected to report a 16% rise in the net profit on year-on-year basis. Now, this is because of a continued momentum in accelerated growth in core high-yield loan segments, which is vehicle finance portfolio for IndusInd Bank. Apart from that, the net interest income is expected to rise by around 15%, and the growth in NII number is slightly slower than what was reported in the previous quarter, which was at 18%. The NIM is likely to remain stable at 4.3% on quarter-on-quarter basis, with the CASA ratio declining 90 basis points to 38.5%. Now, this indicates that deposits growth was driven by term deposits. The loan growth is seen at 20%, but the key focus area is going to be the cost of funds and whether the bank is able to sustain its current loan growth levels. The deposit growth is seen at around 13% on year-on-year basis. On asset quality, the analysts are expecting stable NPAs in this quarter, and provisions will continue to decline due to lower slippages. Both microfinance loans and vehicle finance portfolio shows negligible risk for this quarter, is what the analysts are saying. Non-interest income would be subdued due to lower treasury income and other fee income. So all of these factors combined are expected to result in about 2% year-on-year rise in the pre-provision operating profit, along with higher operating costs due to recovery in the business momentum.
Right, thank you so much for that, Mimamsa. Of course, that net interest margin number is something we'll keep our eye out on as IndusInd comes out with its numbers. But yes, thank you so much for that comprehensive picture. But quickly switching focus, Smriti, we also have the telecom sector earnings coming through. We have Reliance coming through with its earnings tomorrow. Jio will be in focus. Subscriber base back in focus. We also have Bharti Airtel. Stellar ride that one has had. Vodafone, as always, has been in focus. Talk to us about what one can expect from the Q3 numbers when telecom is concerned.
Well, if we specifically look at Bharti and Jio, the revenue is expected to rise based on the increase in the subscribers that Vodafone is losing, and these two are gaining on the back of that. So we expect the top line to grow, and I'll individually come to that for both the companies. But before that, about margins. The margins are likely to be capped considering they've taken a lot of 5G capex in the last couple of quarters. So Jio and Airtel margins may remain capped. Now let's look at specific numbers. In case of Bharti Airtel, revenue is likely to grow at 3.5%. Margin probably will remain flat. As I said, it will be capped by the capex spends on 5G. Net profit is likely to go up 36% quarter on quarter. So profit may see a jump there. In terms of similar kind of trajectory for Jio as well. But if you look at Vodafone Idea, a weaker spot in the telecom sector, the revenue growth will be flattish around 1 to 2%. Margin is likely to contract. They've been losing customers, and operational efficiency is not giving that sort of a benefit now. Net loss, while we can see net loss contracting. Now, this is in contrast with the loss that expanded in the previous quarter. So that's where the sector is currently at. We have seen subscriber growth in Jio of over 1 crore net additions in the quarter itself. So that is what's going to drive Jio's revenues and even net profits. And ARPU is again likely to remain kind of flattish again because these companies are not charging for 5G separately. So even though they have put in all the capex, they've put in all the money, but they're yet to either have a tariff hike in FY24 or specifically charge for 5G, even though that's unlikely. So that's where we currently stand, Hersh.
Interesting. But all of those will be in focus. Let's slip into a very short break. More on the other side. We'll continue to be focused on markets as well as on specific stocks. Stay tuned.
Welcome back. You're watching Market IQ. In a sea of red in the markets, we only have a couple of sectors that are in green, one of them being the realty sector, and the gains there are led by Sobha, that's up about 14.5% as we speak. This is on the back of fundraising plans via rights issue. To tell us more about this, we have Saloni joining us. Saloni, tell us a little bit about the plans that the company has for the fundraise.
Right. Smriti, as you rightly mentioned, the stock is up about 14%. Actually, it hit a record high. Now, this is on the back of the sharp rally that we've seen in real estate stocks. So, one particular news, obviously, that's making the headlines for this particular stock is that the company yesterday announced that it aims to, start a rights issue. Now, that will be decided by the board on a January 22nd meet that they are planning. This will be along with the earnings that they'll be announcing. But apart from that, as far as January itself is concerned, Sobha is up around 47% versus 9% rise in Nifty Realty. This is also being Sobha being technically having a high P in the sector. Talking about the brokerage's view as well, that why in January also Sobha has been kind of leading the rallies, that Motilal Oswal and HDFC Securities, when they announced the topics for the realty sector at the start of the year, Sobha is one of those stocks which made kind of into their top picks list. Motilal expects Sobha to outperform in terms of growth on the vast land reserve or land bank that they have, which will lead to them, coming up with more launches and also trying to meet the demand that we are seeing in the real estate sector. And also they are believing that the company is targeting sustainable growth, especially with the kind of healthy cash flows and profitability that they have. Now, contrary to this view, actually, Jefferies also came out with a report last week when it said that after the sharp rally, as I mentioned, that the stock has seen, they've actually downgraded the stock from hold to buy. However, they have increased the target price to about 1,265. And they've advised the investors that, one should wait for a better entry price, especially after that the sharp rally that's seen.
Right. Thank you so much for that update, Saloni. But we'll switch focus to Zest Money. Now, Zest Money has announced to shut down its shutdown plans in December. It's going to be acquired by DMI Finance, the NBFC arm of DMI. We've been joined by Rishabh, who's going to tell us more about this development. Rishabh, talk to us. What does this mean?
That's right, Hersh. The troubled Zest Money has finally been acquired. This is a distressed sale or a fire sale that has definitely come at a much lower valuation. Zest Money, though the terms of the deal haven't been disclosed by either of the entities, it is definitely much lesser than the $450 million valuation that Zest Money once commanded. But what the companies have revealed is that DMI Finance will be the preferred lender on the Zest Money platform, as well as it will continue to have all the exclusive rights to all the Zest brands that exist. So what this points to is that Zest Money as an entity and as a brand will probably continue to exist, which is different from what we were expecting in terms of a total shutdown. What has also not been clarified is what will happen to the employees that Zest Money has. It has about 150 to 200 employees that are based in Bangalore currently. DMI will also add Zest Money's checkout financing platform to its platform, and DMI had been about a partner with Zest Money for about 8 years.
All right. Thank you so much, Rishabh, for that. Now let's move on to the pharma space. Sun Pharma has entered into a definitive merger agreement with Taro Pharmaceuticals. The pharma giant has agreed to acquire all the remaining outstanding ordinary shares of Taro. My colleague Monal is joining us with more on that.
Thanks, Smriti. Right, so Sun Pharma is now planning to acquire the balance around 22% of the share capital that it holds, that it is now to be holding in Taro. The original offer that was floated was $38 in May, and that was actually, it faced a backlash from the minority shareholders. Now, Sun Pharma has come back with a revised offer and is offering $43 per share to acquire these, the remaining stake. Now, here what is interesting is that Taro's cash balance in hand on the balance sheet right now, cash and short-term bank balances, is $389 million, and Sun Pharma will be spending around $348 million to make this transaction. So all in all the analysts believe that it's accretive. Also, it will give the company access to 1.3 billion of current assets that Taro has on its balance sheet. So the analysts say is that it's a positive if this were to go through. However, we need to remember that this deal is still going to require the approval of the minority shareholders. So it's something that we need to wait and watch, but a positive.
Right. Thank you so much, Monal, for that. Sun Pharma and focus on the back of that, stock up 2%. So let's quickly move on, though. Stick with the real estate pack. The house of Abhinandan Lodha is among the first developers to be building their real estate project in Ayodhya. We had a chat with the CEO, Samujwal Ghosh. Let's quickly listen into what he has to say with regard to this development.
My first question to you is, why did you choose Ayodhya as your first project for real estate?
The way the hospitality industry is shaping up, infrastructural development, roads, highways, etc., is all leading to the fact that Ayodhya will emerge as a leading spiritual capital for not just for the country, but for the globe.
How has the response been so far on the bookings on the project?
The appeal is national, and therefore the demand is also national. And we just begun about a few weeks back, so there's still a bit of way to go, but the response till now, both from the captive audience and from what we are hearing from our customer base and from trade partners, has been more than overwhelming. Uttar Pradesh being the most populous state in the country, we are extremely bullish about the growth that is happening, the stability of administration that is happening in that state, and is going to be of great significance in our expansion plans.
What are your expectations out of the budget, and are you expecting a certain kind of policy, especially with regards to the real estate sector?
I guess it is a little premature to comment, but if I really look back on the last financial year, it's been extremely favorable to growing businesses, and that is well reflected in the Sensex and Nifty numbers.
And that's all that we have on this edition of Market IQ. Thank you so much from Hersh and I, and from all the team that put together this show. But lots more coming up on NDTV Profit. Stay tuned.